and welcome to Rough Cut Film Review. This is a review of the remake of The Wickerman. And before I start, I think there's a temptation to romanticise older films and call them a classic, and therefore they are beyond reproach. And I think that's the case with films like Straw Dogs, the original Wickerman. Those films are really interesting. They've got interesting themes and they've got the power to shock. But I think we sort of half remember them as being better than they actually are. And I don't think we'd be so forgiving had they been recent films. So Nicolas Cage's version of The Wickerman is on Netflix. I'd never seen it before, so here we are. The name of the island in this one mirrors the name of the island off Scotland that the original was based on, I think, and there are a few nods throughout to the source material. However, if you're not really looking for them, you wouldn't really assume that's the case. Now, the problem we have here, more than many of the horror or thriller remakes we've seen over the last decade, is that The Wickerman so comprehensively relies on a twist, far more than any other film I can think of. And if you've seen the original, we're simply waiting for the twist to happen, and it's obviously not going to take us by surprise. Therefore, boredom can set in. And when the film is as dull, plodding, foolish and downright stupid as this one is, you're really willing for the climax so you can get on with your life. I was actually going to make a rude joke there, but I chopped it out because I'm so incredibly professional. So, Nicolas Cage is a policeman. There's an ill-conceived tragedy at the beginning that he witnesses. How incredibly sad. Oh wait, no it isn't, because it's so poorly thought out, and Nicolas Cage puts in one of the worst and most ill-judged performances of his career, a career which has been a running joke now for his bizarre choices and general foolishness, and a real rollercoaster ride, mainly of low quality. Mr. Cage's policeman bears no resemblance to a human being, and I was half expecting the twist to be that there's some weird thing going on with his character, because I didn't believe his character. I didn't believe a person could act like that. And I still don't. Anyway, he receives a letter at the beginning after this terribly tragic accident from an old girlfriend who didn't marry him all those years ago, and she's run off back to the island off of Washington State where she grew up, and she's there and her daughter has gone missing, which she didn't know about, and Nicky Cage has to travel there to find out what's happening. Except, of course, we already really know what's happening. Except, while there was a genuine sense of horror and shock in the original, and to a certain extent of believability, here, transporting events to the west coast, for some reason, of the United States feels like making changes for the sake of changes, which in the end make absolutely no difference whatsoever to the film. They simply smudge what is already a very poor piece of work. This is possibly one of the most ridiculous films I've ever seen. Its lack of self-awareness is breath, because they are in the middle of nowhere. Mr. Cage's mobile phone doesn't get any signal, except of course toward the end for plot reasons, because the plot requires suddenly his phone to work. The script makes no sense at all, to the point at which Nicolas Cage and the interchangeable locals are having two separate conversations in the same scene, where they are two completely different pieces of dialogue which have been stitched together. It makes absolutely no sense. The best scene in the film is where Nicolas Cage draws his gun and asks a lady to get away from the bicycle or he will shoot her. It's remarkable stuff. CGI bees are scary, apparently. Oh wait, no they're not. They look ridiculous. There's one incredibly misjudged scene where our hero, Nicky Cage, runs away from a swarm of bees emanating from a woman's chin. She had a beard of bees, which somehow she gets to attack him, but her wearing the beard of bees, she's perfectly alright. And they try and ramp it up as if it's the most terrifying thing in the world. Bees, lots of bee attacks in this film, but CGI, unbelievable bees. And honestly, apart from the odd scene where you really do laugh out loud at the film, just how stupid it is, don't get the impression that this is so bad it's good. It's not. It's so bad it's clawingly boring. It's so boring. It's so difficult to get through, and I'm probably one of only 7 people that have watched it through to the end. Me, Roger Ebert, God rest his soul, and miscellaneous other people. It's really rubbish. And this is without going into the male-female relationships in this, the changes they've made to the film. I just can't be bothered. Kind regards, Christopher Thomas.